My name is Tyler Burkhardt. I am a Eugene McDermott Scholar at the University of Texas at Dallas.
How did you first get involved with the Coolidge Foundation?
It's an excellent question. I first got involved with the Coolidge Foundation in the spring of my junior year in high school. When I found out about the Coolidge Scholarship, I learned about it near, early January, and so I read the autobiography of Calvin Coolidge in order to submit an application for that. And I was really struck by some of the values he espoused in there. So I wrote my essays, didn't really expect much to come of it, didn't know much about the program. Got an email in March, having been on the mailing list from having applied to the scholarship. It also said, hey, we have this debate tournament over the summer called the Coolidge Cup in Plymouth Notch. And so I submitted an online application for that as well, and I ended up finding out in April that I'd be attending both the Coolidge Senators Conference in DC over the summer and the Coolidge Cup. And so that was the summer of 2019. Participated in both of those programs and had a blast.
So maybe we can start with the Coolidge Cup.
Absolutely.
What was your experience with the Coolidge Cup and the debate style for you?
Yeah, the Coolidge Cup, I think, is remarkable for a couple reasons. It's definitely different from my experience with sort of the professional debate circuit in high school, because the format encourages a little more conversation, and it's aimed a little bit more at good faith persuasion rather than sort of checking the boxes in a system of racing to name the most debate terms or get the most information out on a page. And then I think more broadly about the experience, I've never been to another debate tournament where all the debaters stay together. We were housed together because we were debating up in Plymouth Notch, which was gorgeous, but I think that also created more of a collegial environment within the community of the debaters, because we'd go have the debate rounds, but then we'd sit together in the great room in between debate rounds and talk about everything from the composition of the Senate and Star Wars to what we're going to be doing the next year in our classes. And then we'd take those conversations back to the hotel after the tournament. And so I think that really started to lay the groundwork for a community that normally you just wouldn't encounter at a debate tournament, where you go, you debate someone, you never see them again.
And maybe back to the Senators program now. What has your experience been like there, and how has that involvement in the Senators program impacted you?
Absolutely. I was blown away by the Senators program when I first attended. I hadn't spent a lot of time in DC. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know that the Senators program was a thing when I applied for the scholarship, but ended up getting to come to DC for a weekend with about 45 other high school juniors who are high achieving, interested in public service. And what I remember more than any of the places we visited or the speakers were just the conversations I had with some of my peers, sitting down and talking about what we wanted to do, why we aspired to do those things, and how we were thinking to get there. We were all thinking about applying to college, didn't really know what our career paths were going to be, but having that conversation and then continuing that dialogue with some of those senators afterwards definitely reshaped how I thought about what I want to do with my life.
What do you admire about Calvin Coolidge most?
His personality. I think that just generally his disposition, his demeanor, and his commitment that being in government is about service rather than about self-edification or about racking up accomplishments. I think that's exemplified in his decision, not to rerun for president when he eventually gets there in 1928, but you see it all throughout his career as he works his way up, starting in local government, and at every step I got the impression, reading his autobiography, Coolidge did not go to the next level of politics because he was trying to climb a ladder. The ambition was never the presidency, but he saw the opportunity to help, felt called to serve, and answered that call at every step.
So it's been 100 years since Coolidge was first sworn into office. How do you think his legacy can instruct today's America moving forward?
It's a great question. I think that the legacy of Calvin Coolidge is very relevant today in America, because I think that leaders need to sort of reframe their idea of public service back to this idea about prioritizing community rather than division. Calvin did a great job promoting unity amongst the general populace at the time of his election. He was very popular while he was in office, even more popular when he decided not to run again. But his attitude towards leading in government and his idea that a president comes from the people, it's wholesome that he should return to the people thereafter, and the idea that really, even while serving in the White House, the president is just one member of the general public doing a job, not establishing a resume or looking to write a book afterwards.